Hey, are we live?
Thank you very much for inviting me to chat with you.
And thank you so much for having me on.
Here we go. Okay.
But also we talk about security. We also talk about disaster recovery mechanisms and all of those things that are put in place that we can actively control and ensure that we're, adhering to the latest, GDPR standards or security protocols. And that's one of, I think, the critical benefits we also get from our partnership is just ensuring that infrastructure is up to date, is locked down, and is secure.
Yeah. I think on that one, I think the benefit of that is that we work with some of the most security sensitive organizations in the world, being government agencies and the likes of NASA and, Department of Defense in US and all the government agencies here in Singapore as well. So as we have that security posture that they are looking for, every other AWS customer can benefit from that. So we bake all that into the platform. It's available for all customers to use.
Yeah, which is a huge benefit. So what are you seeing as the biggest challenges for companies that are moving to the cloud?
Yeah, we're a technology company, which you can tell, but technology is not the biggest challenge. Biggest challenge is people and culture. I think as you as being a CEO, you can understand that culture eats strategy for breakfast most of the time. So the biggest difference between organizations that talk about moving to the cloud and those that actually do, it kind of comes down to a few things. First is senior leadership really have to be aligned and committed that they want to move to the cloud. And when I came back to the previously about advantages, cost and agility and innovation, if they really think that those are the things that's going to drive my business and really help me be competitive, they really need to set that clear direction, set the expectation with the organization, and basically get everyone on the same page to kind of drive that moving forward. Because it's kind of easy to do nothing or kind of block things if it's not a priority, because you need to kind of have that kind of top down. So if that leadership message is there, then the next step is to really put a goal. What's our goal for cloud adoption and how fast do we want to move? So different companies and different industries, they've all got different stages of maturity with cloud, or they've got different investments in different infrastructure, and every customer is unique. So we work with them on their cloud journey. It's really important around training and skills. We spoke about it previously that as your technical teams, they need to get comfortable with cloud. There's a lot of technologies there. And one of the main things we're really focused on is skills building and how do we help them with concept of the cloud, and not just even technologies team. What about your business team as well, especially in your sales team? How do you talk to customers and talk about the business benefits of cloud? So sales and business training is pretty important as well. And from our perspective, we train hundreds of thousands of people a year for that purpose. And we've got multiple types of training programs. And coming back to COVID as well, we've been very flexible about how we do training between virtual and flexible type trainings and certifications as well, and all driven by customer demand. And then lastly, I suppose, is the paralysis by analysis, which happens through a lot of organizations. Is
absolutely.
We can't really figure out to move every last workload. And sometimes some workloads just won't move, and that's fine. It's just, it's been invested there. The technology stack is too old and we'll just kind of depreciate it over time. So there's no really need to boil the ocean. One of the really things we do at the start is a portfolio analysis. We assess each of your applications. We build a plan on what's the short term, medium term, and what's last. And sometimes something never make it. And this really helps you get the benefits of cloud kind of early. And let's see some of that business case. You can move ones very quickly, and then you can see how you want to move the rest over the time. So we have a very focused business value team here who will engage with the executive team, with the customer, kind of build out that whole TCO case for you on the cost side, but then also on the quantify the business benefits. We talked about those advantages around agility and innovation, and we'll quantify those and build that business case, and then help you drive that journey by yourselves if you want to invest in your team. Or we've got a whole selection of partners within our ecosystem who can help to drive that journey with you.
Yeah, I mean, we fortunately have been through that journey last year and continue on that journey. But you're right. I think the fascinating thing, and as I've discussed this with a lot of my peers, is one, you can just get completely overwhelmed with the task at hand. It just looks completely daunting. Where do I start? How do we get value? Like you say, short, mid, and long-term value for the business and for our customers. So yeah, paralysis by the data is a really I guess it's a concept we're conscious of, so that we always take a step back, take a breath, and then look at it and just break it down into those bite-sized chunks so that you actually are getting some forward momentum. But another thing that's been really critical in our organization, and you touched on it, is just that it needs to be a business-led initiative. And when I say that, it's not just the CTO leading it. And that actually can't work effectively, in my opinion. It needs to be the executive teams across sales, across support. Everyone collectively needs to understand what the direction is, how to sell it in, as you've said, and you provide training to do so. But also just how to speak about it with authority and with knowledge. And that's something that we're also very conscious of. So every single one of our executive team are across our digital transformation strategy. They're actively involved and key stakeholders in moving that forward, obviously led by our CTO, Andy, but it really is important that everyone's on the same page to be able to drive meaningful change across the organization, and also to implement what, all the great things that the technology team are actually doing.
Yeah, exactly. How do you translate that? Here's a great technical offering, and then how do you go and sell it and wrap it up? Yeah, it's pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it just sits in a corner and gathers dust.